Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great night. I just wanted to make this video and dedicate it to the person who left me a very heartfelt comment last night. I have made videos about animals before, but this one really touched me because I have 132 videos and 20 subscribers, and my channel is not that old, so I don't really get comments. And the ones that I've gotten so far were on other videos that were just plain cruel, and this one was the complete opposite. Um, I totally appreciate that my video reached somebody and hopefully helped somebody. It actually made me cry because it makes me glad that I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's to try to reach people who are not feeling themselves or are depressed or just having a bad day, having a good day. I make those videos, and I reached I had my comments on hold so nobody could comment without my approval because I got some nasty comments. So tonight I decided I'm not going to make a video because I'm just kind of tired, and actually was sleeping and woke up in my computer chair, which I'm really good at because of the medication, or it has me all screwed up, and I just sleep wherever. I mean, it could be on the floor for all I know. But I have a good laugh for you. Um, when my bearded dragons are older, you go give me a kiss, and they've got a tongue that's sticky, so they can touch whatever, like a mealworm or a cricket. I don't feed crickets, but I'm just using it as an example. But they use their tongue to touch the item and grab it. They don't use their teeth. So when they're older, I say, give me a kiss, and they touch my lip and they give me kisses, and they give my golden retriever kisses. It's really sweet. But if you look real close, right here, Java's my baby. And the other night, I was up all night, and then I slept all day, so I didn't feed him. And she's a chow hound. She eats everything. Every single day, her dish is completely empty, and she gets a lot of food because she's a growing baby. So I give her a lot of food to make sure she's not hungry. Well, this morning, I'm like, oh, come here, you sweetheart. You know, because she's getting to the age where she's not so nippy. They hiss and they try to bite you because that's their defense, because they're babies and they're scared. So this morning, I'm like, well, come here, let's do this. I train them slowly. I try to hand feed them. I try to hold them just for short periods of time, and just to try to get them used to you. You do that. So I held her and I had her up against my chest, and that's how I always hold them. And the older ones like to scoot down and be held and cradled like babies instead of being up on your shoulder where they should be. And I let them because I like that they think they're babies. So I had her, and I had her on my chest, and I would hold a mealworm and I'd say, here you go. And I fed her 3 out of my hand, and that's the way you get them to trust you. Trust you, if that didn't sound right. Sometimes I talk so fast that it sounds like I'm talking through mud. I'm sorry about that. I just always feel like I'm in a hurry, because I have a lot to say, and my mind works faster than my mouth can get my point across. Anyway, so I decided I'm going to try her on my shoulder, because usually they will run up and over your shoulder, onto your back, into the middle of your back, and then you can't get them. You can't reach them. Or they'll do that and they'll jump onto the floor and they'll run. That's when they're babies. When they're older, they're too lazy and too fat. So anyway, this morning I decided I'm going to have her help me prep their food. So I took her in the kitchen with me, and like I said, I hand fed her 3 mealworms. She was there, and I put them on my hand, and I'm like, okay, you can have it. And that's Java, my baby. And she took the first one nice. Normally, they use their tongue and they take them nice. So she did. I gave her 3. I figured 3 will hold you over until I get you your meal. So I'm like, okay, you had 3. I need to get the rest of the meals prepared. That's, you cut up fruit. I don't feed them fruit, I'm sorry. Their sweet potatoes or their whatever, that you feed them. Get that all in a dish, and their greens, their collard greens, or their, turnip greens, whatever greens you give them. I try to give them a variety. And I've never seen anybody else give them their mealworms and their greens and their vegetables all in one dish. And that's how I get them to eat everything. Otherwise, they can become picky, where they just will eat their worms and they'll ignore their greens and veggies. They're like children. You give the child the candy and you give them spinach, well, they're going to eat the candy and they're going to ignore the spinach. Good example. So I mix them together. They'll eat it. They'll love it. They'll eat the greens before they'll eat the worms. And I'm like, something wrong with you guys? That's unusual. But it works. So why change something that works? So I started to get their dishes ready. And I moved her and I turned her around so she was facing out, facing away, no, facing toward me, so she wouldn't run backwards if she did decide to run. You try to get them to face, sit on your shoulder and face you, so you can, watch them. Or so with the old bearded dragons, you say, come on, give me kisses, and they'll just lick your lip. No big deal. Like I said, they do it with my golden retriever. Only her. The other dogs don't seem to get into the bearded dragons, but Sasha, she's my girl. She's my red golden retriever. And she's 5? I think she's 5. Yeah. And I'll say, here, Sasha, give the baby some love. And they'll exchange kisses, and that'll be it. I trust her. She's not going to snap at them. I mean, bearded dragons are prickly. So anyway, I'm holding her, and I'm like, oh, Java, you're being so good. And I'm petting her and talking sweet to her as I'm getting all of, the food prep done. And I turned to her and I said, come on, give me kisses. And whoomph, she bit me. And their teeth, I said, I'd rather get bit by a kitten or a puppy. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe, I've gotten bit before, but it's been like on my finger. But as you see, I'll show you again. Right here and right here. I mean, they can open their mouths really wide. And because my mouth was moving, she thought it was probably a mealworm, or probably, a bug. I call it bugs, even though they're worms. And all of a sudden, I'm like, and I'm sorry that I cuss in my videos. I am me, and that's how I speak, and it comes from working in factories and being with an old truck driver. He's not an old truck driver as in age. He used to be a truck driver as well as working in a factory, so we kind of have potty mouths. But it's honesty, and I've read that people who cuss are more intelligent. See, I forget about that. That screensaver comes on. People who cuss are more intelligent because they have a bigger vocabulary. Now, that's just what I read. And I don't cuss for that reason. I cuss because that's what feels right at the time. You know, I speak my mind. That's how I am. I'm very open. So, anyway, she bit me. And I'm like, damn it, Java. Ow. You know? What the hell did you do that for? Because I've never. They always just give you a little lick. Even when I go to feed them or I go to pet them in the morning, and they'll lick my hand. They'll give me morning kisses. And bearded dragons are extremely affectionate if you raise them right, I guess. Or I had one that wasn't raised right that I adopted from a pet store, and he was just a jerk. You could not get near him. He was just, I ended up taking him back because he was so mean. Apparently he was neglected, but you know, $50 later I find that out. $50 non-refundable adoption fee. I find this out. So anyway, so Java, what the you know, ow. And she's, like I said, she's a beast. She will eat anything, absolutely anything. I fill her dish with greens, with bugs, with everything that, not fruit. I refuse to do fruit because it is not good for their teeth. But, I mean, otherwise, I give them what they're allowed to have, and she gets a great quantity because she's a growing baby. So, also, she bit me, and I'm like, damn, that hurt. You were going back in your enclosure. It hurt so bad. My lips, right here, half my lips, went numb. Like I went to the dentist. And I'm not joking. It hurt so bad. I'm like, I put my finger there. I'm like, I'm bleeding. She actually made me bleed. Couldn't believe it. She's supposed to be nice to me. I love her. So yeah, I was just stunned. That, well, I mean, I understand what she's thinking. You know, oh, you gave me 3 mealworms, I give more, and they happen to be on your face. Shit, you know. Talk about unexpected. Good morning. Fuck. So, that was stunning. But I thought, you know, I could do a story that was funny in a way. I mean, look at my face. She maimed me, you know, she really did me good. But no, I got that video or that comment, I'm sorry, and it inspired me to make another video about animals. I do have a sad story, but after that story, I'm not sure if I want to share it, but I do, because it tells you that I'm not perfect at this. I mean, I just got mauled by a 300-gram lizard. But I'll make this one short. When I was married before, we bought a house, and I had a little miniature dachshund, and we had I think 2 dogs and 2 or 3 cats, and we had just bought this house, and had brand new carpeting installed, and I had this cat who was, I don't know, 8, 9 something years old, and I know that when she would go to the bathroom, she'd have blood, but I'd taken her to the vet, and the vet couldn't, nobody could really understand why. It just was. So, all of a sudden, I must have got home. Now, mind you, this was 2008, and it's 2024, almost 25. And, she was my best friend. She was the best cat. When I got her as a kitten on the way home from picking her up, I was driving, and she draped herself around my neck like a scarf because she was scared. And I named her Gizzy, after Gizmo from Gremlins. And so I took her. Of course, she threw up on me on the way home, and it went all down my arm. It was fantastic. It was just, dream come true. But she was one who was just awesome. She's an awesome cat. It's very affectionate. She was my cat, and you know how that is, where, and I'm not trying to tell this story to make anybody depressed, because this time of the year you have depression. I get it. But my point of the story is that nobody's perfect. And when it comes to animals, sometimes it's very hard to read or figure out what's wrong with them. So that's the point of my story of, I make mistakes too. I'm not perfect. I always say I'd like to be, but probably not really, because then people would have expectations, and I don't need that kind of baggage. But anyway, so we bought this house, and we had all new carpeting installed, and the carpeting wasn't white, but it was cream color. It was close to white, but it was on clearance, and that we had to put a lot in, all upstairs. So all of a sudden, we must have come home from somewhere, and there was poop. I'm just gonna talk like I always do. And it had blood, so I thought it was her, because she had a history, of that condition. And there were a couple piles around, and I'm just like, oh shit, Gizzy's sick. She's suffering. I gotta get her to the vet and have her put down, because she's been suffering like this for a while. So I took her to the vet, and I had her put down. And in the meantime, my husband at the time cleaned up the carpet. And we all went on our way. I, took her to the vet. I called ahead and said, she's suffering. She's older. She needs to be, she needs to let go. I can't continue. So the carpets are all cleaned, because like I said, they're brand new. And I take her to the vet, and it's probably a good 45 minutes away, because that's the vet I took him to. And the carpet was all cleaned while I was gone. And I come home without her. And there's a mess again with blood in. So I ended up taking my little dachshund into the vet, and here she had like a bladder infection or something. Long story short, I put the wrong animal down by accident. Like I said, I didn't want to make this depressing, but I wanted to let people know that accidents happen, and unfortunately it was just a bad one. I love that cat so much. She was numero uno. I think I had 2 or 3 cats, and she was the one. so many years later, I forget about it. Because it's not something you want to think about, but the guilt, oh my God. How do you say you put the wrong animal down when, the puppy, she just needed some antibiotics and she was fine? Can't say that for a kitty cat, for Gizzy. I've forgotten about that story until now because it just has been so long. I've had a lot of animals. Last year, my bearded dragon, she wasn't eating, and she ended up having cancer of her mouth. That's why she wasn't eating. And the weird fact that nobody knows, well, I don't know who knows, I've never heard it before, until the vet told me. With bearded dragons, they go into brumation, which is like hibernation. And I think that my boy is in it right now. Because I looked and he was in the same place and he was sleeping and everything was dark. So I'll see in the morning how he's doing. I worry when they go into brumation because if you watch videos, they talk about, you think that they're dead. Even though they do wake up from time to time during brumation to get a drink. So it's like kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, she hadn't eaten for like 3 months, which was a long time, but yet they can go a long time for, months not eating because it's their, the way that they survive. So I didn't worry too much about it. And then I started syringe feeding her because she needed to eat something. She was just not eating, and I couldn't figure out why. And to find an exotic vet is like, oh my God, and so expensive. So it's like, we were in the middle of moving, so I didn't really have the chance. Now that sounds lame, but I didn't have the chance to take her. And so I, hand fed her, well, force fed her, more or less, which I totally hate the term, but I had to. And, long story short, again, I had to put her down. And the most bizarre thing, I find it interesting, creepy, I'm not sure how to feel about it, but what can happen is, how with a cat or dog, they give them the shot, the animal goes to sleep, and that's it, done. Well, with bearded dragons, because of their genetic makeup that makes them survive or something, I don't really know what it is, but the vet can give them that shot. And for 24 hours, they have to be observed because the bearded dragon can think that they're in brumation and even after the shot wake up. It's just creepy as hell. So I'm like, they gave her the shot and I held her and we passed her around and, did what we had to do. And then I turned her over and I said, I hope that she doesn't wake up. That to me was just, it's kind of a neat phenomenon, but kind of not, if that makes sense. That's something, it's like when they freeze goldfish and they thaw the goldfish and the goldfish comes back alive. It's like, that's nuts. But no, on the flip side of things, of course animals can help you with your depression, but they can also add to it. And I guess I never thought that side of things. And you take them for granted that they're there for you every day. And the saying goes, if only they lived as long as we did. But they don't. So now I got 4 dogs, 3 cats, and 3 bearded dragons. And we're disabled, so we stay home all day, unless you don't have errands or doctor's appointments or whatever. But irregardless of that, we still make mistakes, and those mistakes can just be devastating. You know, there is a saying. I don't know how the saying goes, but sometimes the death of a pet can hurt more than the death than the. You know, if I could talk, it would make more sense. But I didn't realize my lip was that bad until I just saw it. I'm sorry, I have ADD. The death of a pet can hurt more than the death of a human. That's a pretty big impact. But you know, when you spend a lot of time with an animal, with a pet, more than with a human, or you have that bond, that makes sense. But it's not fair. And when my kids would say, "That's not fair," I would say, "Life's not fair." So, you know, I'm sorry if this video brought you down. That was not my intention. My intention was to tell you the funny story about Java trying to eat my face, and that I made a mistake, and it was a long time ago, and it happens. You know, animals, it doesn't matter if they're 3 days old, 3 months old. I'm just going by threes, I don't know why. 3 years old, 13 years old, 23 years old, which I can't remember what the oldest cat is, but old. You know, it doesn't matter what age they are. You can lose them at any time. And that's why our clan, I call them the clan, they're our babies, and we call them our babies, and we baby them, even though they're naughty. Give me my damn remote, Polly. She's so sassy. She finds stuff, and we're like, where'd she find that? I wish I could put a picture of her on here. I don't know how. All I could do is, when I get my camcorder, which I did order, then I can go around the house, and I can show my bearded dragons, and I can show my naughty fur kids. You know, though, somebody wrote on my Facebook, I cannot live without an animal. And I remember I had to give up my cats because of my second husband. Where we were moving, we weren't allowed to have animals. And I had 3 Siamese cats. Well, did you pick your future husband, or do you pick your cats? I know, I was dumb. But anyway, you know, you rehome them and hope that you find the best home for them. I used to do dog rescue. And going into it, I knew it was temporary, but it was all on my own dime. Nobody gave me, I mean, the vet gave me a little bit of a break on my bills. But, you know, I would help these dogs, I'd rehab them, and then ask, these days you can buy a purebred for what it costs to get a shelter dog. It's pathetic. But sure, there are many times we had to rehome an animal that didn't work out. Or I did, you know, rescue, where I would take them, I'd get them vetted, I'd get them healthy, and I'd find them new homes. But my prices were reasonable to where people were able to afford a dog. That was back 26, 7, 25 years ago, a long time ago. I wouldn't do it again because I get too attached. But anyway, no, I just wanted to make this video. I can call it a bipolar video because it had its ups, has its ups and its downs, and its ups and its downs. And the thing is, that's what kind of mood I'm in these days is the bipolar roller coaster of, I have this funny story and then I have this depression, and I can't help that, but I just wanted to share. The bottom line was to show what kind of impact an animal can have on you. And it really can. More than most people know. And those people, this is really funny. People who don't have any animals, I always feel sorry for them. I'm like, you don't have anything to cuddle. I mean, okay, if you have a fish, but you still can teach them stuff. I wouldn't. I had fish, but I'd put my finger in and they'd come up and nip my finger and stuff. It kind of freaked me out. But, you know, you can do a lot with an animal. You can teach them things. I had an animal, a boy cat, and, or was it Gizzy? I'm not sure. One of them, I would cry, and they'd lick my tears. That had to be one of the most touching things I've ever experienced, besides having my face eaten. I had my sister's cat. He would knead the back of my hair and suckle on it. It was a weird feeling. But eventually, I learned that it was comforting, and I'd fall asleep to it. The most wonderful sound to me is a cat purring when I'm trying to go to sleep. And now we don't allow cats in our bedroom because of the hair. But this was back when I was young and didn't care about the hair. But, and Sheba, our all black cat, likes to knead, and she's got sharp claws. Regardless of whether we cut them or not, they're still sharp. And she's a pest. But, yeah, so then I have, the Nest. It's a Google Nest. And, it goes on your wall or whatever, and you ask her questions, and I don't know if you know what that is, but there used to be where you could play these night sounds, and one of them was cat purring, and you could have it go all night long, and oh my god, I loved it. And now if you do it, I think it only lasts an hour. Well, it's not long enough. So, okay, I think I've gabbed long enough. I hope that this brought inspiration and taught you something and didn't make you sad. I know it probably made you sad, but that's part of the lesson, I guess. They say that there's a lesson in everything. Sometimes the lesson doesn't make sense, but I feel like the lesson was, if you've done something in your past, it may have been a mistake and you didn't do it on purpose. I know I didn't. It was like one of the worst things I ever did. I'm like, oh my god, I came home and I got my face mauled by a little lizard. That was a first. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you little shit. She's very feisty, but I like that. That's a strong personality. Kind of reminds me of somebody I know. So I hope you have a good night. I hope that this video didn't bring you down. That wasn't the idea. The idea was to support you and let you know that you're not alone. Other pet owners have their troubled waters. It's not perfect having an animal. It's hard. Especially, if they're ill. My golden retriever still has problems with her ears, and we still can't get rid of it. And it's been like 3 years at least, and we still can't figure it out. We've tried everything, and even, the vet, everything. And we still can't figure it out. I tried everything, but I just give her Benadryl tablets. I'm like, come on, Sasha, pills. She'll come and sit in front of me. I'll say, come on, pills. And I'll grab her bottom jaw or her top muzzle. And she'll open her mouth and I'll drop them down her throat and they're gone. She's used to taking them. I haven't given them to her for a long time because usually it's summer. Okay, I'm babbling. I'm sorry. So I hope you have a good night. If you need somebody to talk to, let me know. I do go live pretty often just because I think it's fun to talk to other people, even though like nobody shows up, but that's okay. It'll take time. So you have a good night. Know that I'm thinking about you and take care.